walking away like, I've got to go to my room. And I was like, it's my character. It's not my, I couldn't like describe it. And the shoot had been going on for so long that it was like, it really seemed like I was lying. Even the more I told the truth, the more it seemed like I was lying. And it was like a terrible moment. And at that moment, I had never had so much respect, and I've never been so feared by so many people in one place. And half the crew talked to me, and the other half couldn't look at me ever again. And I really think that's how you jump into character.
We got two more apparently.
Okay, I just had a quick. You guys seem to nail the music, and like Tosh said, I'm like nailing the kind of garage rock, like punk, fuzzy sound. How did that come about, and how did you like get back into the process? Did you like, force them to write songs or something?
No, I mean the music was again it's like a process that's been going on for about 2 years. I've been sort of fortunate enough to be friends with Nigel Godrich for nearly 10 years back in London, and this is we always wanted to work together. This is the first thing that kind of came up that was, it needed a lot of music, and both myself and Nigel, and these guys as well, we're all pretty kind of hard on fictional bands and films, because with very few exceptions, you know, they really work, or it really feels right, even just on a sort of sound mix level. So the idea was to get a different band for every fictional artist in the film, and we talked about some kind of like, it's funny actually, I don't think they're here anymore, two of the Black Lips were here earlier. I think they're gone already.
Yeah, I think it was the upper and lower lip.
So there was a bunch of kind of like sort of younger bands that we sort of thought about, some of whom actually appear on the soundtrack. And then it was Nigel's idea about getting kind of Beck to do it, his suggestion, because there's something nice about getting artists to kind of play a part. So Beck isn't writing Beck songs, he's writing Sex Bomb songs. And he was totally up for it. I mean, I was a huge Beck fan, and I'd met him once or twice before, but I wasn't sure whether he'd go for it, and he was just, I think, and the same with Broken Social Scene, who did the music for Crash and the Boys, which sounds nothing like Broken Social Scene. Like, so in those two cases of Beck and Broken Social Scene, they had a ball, like, playing parts. And for instance, with Beck, myself and Brian Lee O'Malley went to meet him in San Francisco at Outside Lands, and we talked to him and talked about some of the artists we thought it would sound like. And, you know, Beck himself has kind of fuzzier, punkier roots where he, you know, his early kind of demos are very sort of garage rocky. And he'd just done some Bob Dylan covers with an 8-track at his house, and they sounded super kind of raw, and that was the kind of sound we were going for. So then I gave him the script, all of the books that had been published at that point, the scene descriptions and what was happening in the scene, and then we blew up the Sex Bomb artwork to like this size, and all of the panels, that's Sex Bomb performance panels, and he put them all around his home studio. And then about 72 hours later, I was given like a CD with like 22 tracks on it. Like 9 of which are in the film, and some of which have never changed since that weekend. The only one that changed, that got kind of just slicker, was the one on the end credits, the Ramona song, when you hear the big orchestral version of it. But all of the other ones are from that weekend, and the only things that were done to them is that the actors re-recorded the vocals, because, you know, Beck has a very distinctive voice. So the music on the end credits is literally like Beck jamming in his house. Like, I think sort of like most of the songs, in a very good way, because it's supposed to be like that. The band are not supposed to be amazingly good, so he kind of knocked the songs off in the best way possible. But it's like a testament to Beck that they're still amazingly catchy. There's something that he kind of wrote in like an hour, you know, and so that was amazing. So we had really like, and he gave us this demo, which was done on an 8-track, and you know, a couple of months later said to me and Nigel, said, do we need to do anything else with those songs? Like, no, it's good, yeah, all good. So I think we added some lyrics in places, and then these guys re-recorded the vocals in Toronto, and then we also got, you know, other people that we got on board was Cornelius, who I'm a huge fan of. Cornelius did the music for the Catianali twins, and he basically composed his bit of music in like November 2008, way back, like to storyboards. I had the storyboards, and I cut the storyboards of that sequence together with a different Cornelius track, like different tempo, and the Cornelius music and the THX music at the start of the. So I cut the sequence together, gave it to him, and then he recorded that piece of music just to the storyboards, and so that was amazing. So he kind of did it just to pictures, and then later he added a couple of tiny things when he saw the finished piece, but. And then Metric, another great Canadian band. They did the music for Clash of Demon Head, and their one is a bit different because they had a track from their last album which they had written but never recorded, and the reason they never recorded it is because they thought it sounded like somebody doing an impression of Metric, and I said, well, we'll have that one. That sounds perfect for us. So, and that was great. So, and then the other person, there's a bunch of people, like Dan the Automator did the Patel song. And he did the music in the Ninja Revolution game. He did the game music. And then Nigel Godrich did the score. And then on that score, like, it's ridiculous, like, a stupid embarrassment of riches on the soundtrack just happened. He's amazing. And because Nigel's, worked with so many amazing musicians, like, I don't know if there's any, like, sort of bass players here and stuff, but, like, even the bass battle was Justin Madal Johnson and Jason Faulkner, who are two of the best. Yeah, you know. So yeah, it just had these amazing, like, sort of people across the board, and everybody just contributing to the soundtrack. And Kevin Drew and Brendan Canning from Broken Social Scene, they came and did some tracks on the score in London with Nigel, so some of the, because we wanted to capture the sort of, like, Canadian vibes. So, I mean, the score was like a 2-year project in itself, and I'm really pleased with it, but it was great.
Last one.
Are you dressed up as knives?
I am from.
Wow. You got the red stripe instead of the blue stripe. You went old school.
Yes, I went old school. This question is for Edgar.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much. Great to see you. I'll let Edgar be in front.
I was wondering if it was your idea or Brian's idea to have the chip in the back of Ramona's head.
That actually came from his original notes. Yeah, that was like, there was a couple of things that like were in those, and there was one bit that was in Brian's really rough, there was one idea that was in Brian's original idea for Gideon, that he was at one point going to turn into a robot at the end in the final fight. And we storyboarded that and did everything, and then it was around the point when we just kind of figured, and I think Iron Man had maybe just come out, and we kind of figured like, oh, if we did this thing, it would just look like we were doing like a Transformers kind of like spoof or something. So we kind of jettisoned that idea. But we had this amazing design. Maybe I put it on the DVD. Oscar, my brother, drew like the robot Gideon, which was hilarious.
I was like, Edgar, I can do the robot. It won't be like Iron Man. It won't be like Transformers. Let me be the robot. I can give it to you. You've never seen it before. It'll be the most real robot. It'll be like every robot in the world. Like, yes, that's what it's like to be a fucking robot.
When Jason pitched it to me like that, I said, we're definitely not doing it. No, it was something I kind of figured that no matter how good it would look like maybe we were doing a riff on Iron Man or Transformers. So that's where the pixel sword, like him being, kind of having an extra boss battle kind of like fight. So actually that last fight was the replacement for that bit, which is, I'm really pleased he did that. That's my favourite bit of action. And then the chip in the head was in Brian's original notes. It's something that he didn't use in the books, but we thought it was a great idea. The idea of Ramona having like a restraining bolt, and you can see it's got the Gideon logo on it. So we thought that was, and he actually alludes to the sameness, the similar dialogue in Volume 6 about he has a way of getting into my head, and in our version, based on his notes, that was like he literally has a chip in her head that controls her. So it kind of explained why she would be, like why she would go back to him, because that sort of changes a little bit from Volume 6. So yeah, that came from Brian's notes essentially, way back. I hope that answers your question. Red stripe.
You guys, this was the best night ever. So much fun. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you.